serendipitously, when I moved to New York, I heard about the Players, which is very similar to the London Club, which is also a club for actors and the other professions. And so I joined the Players, and it's been a wonderful thing for me, being somebody from another country, because it's kind of given me a home away from home, I guess. And we all live in small apartments in New York, and it kind of acts, I guess, as my sitting room and a place where I can entertain and meet friends and people. I'm an actor, and I also have another profession, the law, which is, I suppose, what the founder, Edwin Booth, was aiming at, getting the theatrical profession to mix with the other professions. But I suppose the thing about the Players is its theatre connections, and it's had some very wonderful people from film and theatre who've been members, and literature. It was founded by the preeminent Shakespearean actor of the 19th century, Edwin Booth, who came from a family of actors, and he bought the house, I think, in the 1870s. And his idea was to create a club like the club in London. So he wanted to have something like that in New York. The name Booth is famous and infamous because his brother assassinated Abraham Lincoln. After that happened, actors were even more outcasts than they were prior to that, because even before that, actors could not be members of private clubs. They were they had to be buried at night. They were not totally accepted into society. I suppose Edwin's idea was to give them a home and make them perhaps a little bit more integrated into society. And arguably, when his brother did that dastardly deed to Abraham Lincoln, he might have done it as a further thing to bolster or give actors a haven and to give them some respectability, because it devastated him what his brother had done. And in fact, he retired from the theatre for several years because of it, and he was a broken man. In 1888, he converted the house into a clubhouse, and he gave the deeds of the house over to the club. So he donated the house to the club in perpetuity. And unfortunately, Mr. Booth only lived for 5 more years after that. He died in 1893. But since then, he started, and there's been perpetuated a great tradition of associations with the theatre and film industry, entertainment, music, and we've had some very, very eminent members there, literally the who's who of show business. Right at the bottom there is what's called the Grill. I suppose it's like a pub, and I've heard some people compare it to the bar in Cheers. So it's a very relaxed bar room. It's relaxed dining and drinking down there. Upstairs, the Great Hall, which has a magnificent fireplace in it, and a portrait of Edwin Booth's father above the fireplace. The Kinsler Room, also named after one of our current members, Ray Kinsler, is a very celebrated portrait artist. He, for instance, paints all the presidents. He's famous for his portraits of celebrities, and there are several in there. Upstairs, we've got a fabulous library, which is the second largest private library of theatrical literature in the world, I believe. It's not a lending library, but it's a research library. A lot of the books there are from Edwin Booth's own collection. There's a green room, which is a room which all theatres have, a room for members only. It's a relaxation room. But in there, there's Mark Twain's poker table and many various other bits of theatre memorabilia, costumes, swords, canes, masks. Then there's a boardroom where the board meets regularly, and it's also used for readings of plays and scripts. To the other side of the Great Hall is the dining room, which is where we have events. and it's a magnificent panelled room. There are private events, people get married there, bar mitzvahs, wedding anniversaries, you name it, it happens there. It's home away from home, somewhere where you feel comfortable and you're kind of proud to invite your friends and guests there to learn something that's really hidden. Whenever I take most people there, they say, I had no idea this is here, and it's so beautiful and so full of history.